The Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our ServiceNow series, where we interview the best and brightest of the industry to share their story, advice, and views on the exciting world of ServiceNow and digital transformation.
You're listening to the Alldus podcast ServiceNow series. Our guests today are Andrew Ortiz and Dave McInnes. Andrew is the Practice Director and David is the ServiceNow Engagement Manager at AdvizeX. Gents, welcome to the show.
Hey there, JP. Thanks for having us.
Good to see you both. So look, we've got lots to cover. So let's jump straight in and start with yourselves as we do with all of our guests. If you both could give us a little summary of your own backgrounds in technology and what your journey has been and how you got to where you are today. So Andrew, we'll start with yourself and Dave, come to you from there.
Yeah, so my name is Andrew Ortiz. I am the ServiceNow Practice Director here nationally at AdvizeX, covering multiple regions within the US, and furthermore, kind of expanding into other regions as we speak. As far as my technology background and working in IT, had quite a bit of experience working in the infrastructure space as an infrastructure solutions architect, working in the retail and financial services industry before I made my transition over to consulting and helping customers implement some of their kind of strategic initiatives around various facets of technology. That's really when I started my career here at AdvizeX back in 2016. Again, focused in that infrastructure solution space. And then around 2018, the opportunity to move into the ServiceNow space as an engagement manager within our early years of our ServiceNow practice here. And really took a liking to ServiceNow. Up until that point, I had been an end user of the ServiceNow platform in multiple roles, but never really focused on the implementation side or kind of the underlying platform. So gained a lot of great experience as an engagement manager, working with customers, analyzing various business processes. And I will add that my background in the infrastructure space was really vital to, I think, my success as an engagement manager, especially working with IT organizations, because I understood the practicality of some of these things that we were asking our customers to do. I had lived it, breathed it, could see how this impacted the end user side. How did ServiceNow truly make an impact to standardizing processes, ensuring that things are properly orchestrated and fulfilled in the proper sequence? So that background really helped me bring that context to conversations with customers. And made it a much more relatable experience. So I always lean into that when I'm having conversations with customers or when we're engaged in some of these workshopping discussions. But it was a really important part, I think, of my experience. So kind of fast forward over the period of that time from 2018 to now, I ended up taking over our ServiceNow practice in 2022 as the practice director and helping to build out the team further. And at that point, we were primarily focused kind of in the Midwest region. We continue to expand into the Northeast and the Southeast. So our team now spans all of the Midwest, all of the Northeast, and the Southeast. So been great to see it grow to this level.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the background and great to understand your journey. We're going to come back to you about the broader vision for AdvizeX and how it's grown since you've stepped into that role. But I want to bring Dave into the fold. So Dave, talk to us a little bit about your own journey within ServiceNow and what led you to where you are today with AdvizeX.
Sure, yeah. I'm Dave McInnes. I'm the ServiceNow Engagement Manager at AdvizeX for the Northeast region. I've been here coming up on 2 years now. My experience started, I stepped back into IT in about 2010 with a managed services provider, and I was there for almost 10 years. I did almost every role there was in managed services. I started in batch processing and as a help desk agent, then became a NOC engineer, then NOC lead, then I managed a big part of the service desk. Then I was director of IT for one of our customers for a year, then a customer delivery manager, and then director of IT for ServiceNow for our own company. And my foray into ServiceNow began when I was managing part of the service desk. We got a big new contract, which was really 3 companies under an umbrella I ran a 15-person help desk team doing help desk, level one help desk for them. But they wanted us using their ticketing system. None of us had ever used ServiceNow. They use ServiceNow. So we're using their ServiceNow instance. And then they rebuilt it from the ground up, whole new instance. And then the company split into 3 companies and they cloned that, and each one kind of took off,
Yeah.
enhancing their instances from there. So really, like by the end of my first year with ServiceNow, I'd been exposed to, I think it was 5 different instances, and one implementation and a lot of enhancements and everything. Then my company, the managed services provider, decided they wanted to move to ServiceNow. As the only person that had actually used it, they were leaning on me first. I wasn't running the project, but they were coming to me for input a lot on that. And then eventually I ended up taking over the continuing improvement of our ServiceNow environment there. Eventually, my longtime boss and mentor landed at another company that wanted to implement ServiceNow, so he brought me over to do that. And that was my first ground up implementation. I was there for about 2.5 years, and then I came to AdvizeX. So kind of moving from the customer side over to the partner side, and very happy here.
I love that. Thank you both so much. So, Andrew, coming back to you, you're probably, when we think of the work that you do at AdvizeX, there's probably no one better who can sort of tell the narrative of what the broader vision is for AdvizeX within ServiceNow and the offering. So, can you just help the audience understand what it is you're doing, the mission of the business, and what the objective is for your function in growing your ServiceNow capabilities?
As I mentioned earlier, been at AdvizeX here since 2016, and one of the things that really really drew me into AdvizeX was, as a business, we really have a mission of building long-standing relationships with our customers. And one of the phrases that we often use here is building customers for life. And we really mean that. In my time here, I've really gotten to experience that firsthand. And so one of the things that we've been really focused on as a ServiceNow practice since I've really taken this over is ensuring that we are always focused on driving quality customer outcomes. And that's always been my vision for the practice, is always doing the right thing for the customer based on where they are on that maturity journey in their service management, on their service management journey. So the way that we've kind of architected our solutions and offerings, we really try to focus on that customer journey, focusing on assessment of service management, conducting various workshops, series of engagements where we can help them understand where they are on this kind of maturity track. And so that what we have found through doing that is it really opens a lot of doors to other parts of the organization. Really opens the eyes of some of the employees within these accounts of our customers, where they can see some process optimization and drive more efficiency. So, tying that back to our broader vision, our vision is really focused on ensuring that we can bring real world practical experience, practical knowledge of these different business processes. That's why we always ensure that the folks from our side who are engaged in these implementations, they have that breadth of experience that they can speak to a customer from their lens, from their shoes. Everybody that's employed here at AdvizeX in our ServiceNow practice has at one point worked on the customer side, and they've been in roles where they've had to lead initiatives around service management, and really try to drive organizational change within their past in those roles. So we're really focused on ensuring that our customers are getting quality results out of their ServiceNow implementation, ensuring that they're getting the most value out of that implementation, and really, again, taking steps, sometimes a few steps backwards, so that we get back to some of the basics and the foundational elements of what's really needed to drive some of these initiatives. Oftentimes, we have conversations with folks, and they've been on ServiceNow for many years, and they just really haven't seen the value out of the platform that they had originally hoped for or intended as a part of the initial implementation. it always pains me when I hear that, right? We're not getting really what we wanted, or, ServiceNow is just not working out for us.
Yeah.
Because typically we know that's the result of them not following the process, that process journey we follow, and really helping to establish that foundation. So when I talk about our broader vision and our offerings, we're really focused on that advisory side. We really want to build that relationship with the customer. And as they grow and kind of nurture the platform, that we become their go-to partner and that we're there when they need us.
Yeah.
That's really a core focus of ours as we continue to build this out.
Yeah, and that plays nicely then into what your role is, Dave, day-to-day, boots on the ground. So help us visualize what it looks like, practice level day-to-day, the interactions that you're having with your customers, and how that ties back to the vision which Andrew just outlined.
So part of the job is working with our account executives and the ServiceNow account executives to identify accounts to go after, meeting with those customers, kind of scoping out their needs, where they currently sit in terms of IT maturity, ServiceNow maturity, if they already have it, et cetera. Scoping projects out, working on statements of work, and then running those projects. Day to day, we're doing a couple of different things. We've got instance management. That's one of our offerings where we sort of play the platform owner and take over managing the environment for the customer so that they don't have to. And we're doing all of the health checks, security checks, maintaining CMDB, the routine management stuff that it takes to manage the instance. Upgrades is a big one. I'm going through a couple of those right now, et cetera, making sure everything goes smooth.
Yeah.
The other side of things is sort of the project side of things. So we've got implementations going on, and that could be a ground up ServiceNow implementation. It could be just spinning up a new module in ServiceNow for a customer, building out catalog items and workflows, et cetera, whatever's in the scope of work, right? But we're always advising the customer on, what their roadmap should be, where they can see the most benefit, et cetera, coming up with an order of operations to things. So that's what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, and we're in very close contact with the customer. We're using all of that experience in IT, all of that experience with ServiceNow in general, sort of pairing the two up because we've sat in the customer's chair, trying to offer the best advice we can, trying to convince them to adhere to best practices and ServiceNow's way of doing things, which is a really important aspect, and just really trying to steer them right. And so far, our customers have been very happy with that, and they keep coming back to us for more work. And they get excited about the efficiency gains that they see once we, finish up a project and everything, and they start thinking, oh, where else can we gain some benefits here? What else can we automate?
Well, let's stay on that topic, because you mentioned the customers are happy, and there's a lot of case studies that you can share with us, which you've shared with me previously. So I want to, Andrew, just the factors for success. What has led to AdvizeX having such success? I know we talked about your advisory services being a key part of that, and maybe just share a recent case study, an example of a customer that you think would demonstrate the journey from conversation, how you guys work together, and most importantly, what the outcome was.
Yeah, absolutely. So, actually, a fairly long-term customer that we've been working with for some time, and the journey to me is really worth highlighting that they went through. So they were a financial services customer who had started with kind of a very rudimentary service management practice as a whole. And we started having some early conversations with them around their just how IT was managing and ingesting requests and incidents and triaging those things. And they were really interested in hearing more about what ServiceNow had to offer. But they just couldn't get the buy-in from some of the senior leadership to make that move for IT in acquiring ServiceNow as a service management platform. So fast forward about 6 to 8 months, and all of a sudden, the business side of the organization really starts seeing some interest in what ServiceNow's capabilities were around financial services operations. We were re-engaged in those conversations around ServiceNow, and the financial side of the house, the business side of the house they were intrigued by everything that ServiceNow could do for them. They were in a current situation where many processes were being manually done, a lot of physical paper and a lot of just inter-office mailing of various documents. And that resulted in some really lengthy wait times for their customers, in their banking customers. So they wanted to proceed with trying to drive more standardization of those processes, but most importantly, digitizing those processes where possible. And ServiceNow really fit the bill for that. So we partnering with the ServiceNow account team who was aligned to this particular customer. We started to put together a business case for them, and hosted a series of workshops and discussions to help them cost justify the investment to move to ServiceNow and all of the associated implementation. And that took about roughly 3 to 4 months for us to work through that exercise. But at the end of it, we were able to put that presentation together, present those results back up to the senior leadership team there. And eventually they made the decision to move forward with ServiceNow. And fast forward, 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, we've been working with that customer. And I just want to caveat, that's not just the initial implementation. We've had multiple phases to this implementation over that time, and they continue to realize more and more value out of the platform. We've really transformed much of their banking operations. We've transformed much of their IT operations at this point as well. And we continue to look at other facets of their business where we can continue to drive that same adoption and transformation. It's had a huge impact overall. They've been able to reduce customer wait times for many account changes, for loan changes, deposit changes, from weeks down to just a day or hours in some cases, which has an amazing effect. Right now, you can get a lot more done just by putting in place a platform that allows you to orchestrate these processes and eliminates all of the manual overhead. So a really great example, really great use case of a customer that we've seen tremendous digital transformation. Another customer that comes to mind is a healthcare organization that we've worked with. They were a little bit of a more unique situation where they had ServiceNow implemented with a previous partner, but it really wasn't implemented in a way that met their particular business needs. And so they were seeking out another partner to help them kind of reevaluate the environment, reevaluate what was done, and help them re-transform what they had initially set out to do. So we sat down, had a series of assessment workshops and walk through all of their processes, and we really helped them identify areas where there was a lot of inefficiency, or maybe there weren't clear standards that were communicated or documented. And so we helped them bring all these great ideas they had together, bring a number of these processes together, standardize them, document them, and then implement them in the ServiceNow platform. And again, another example of how we can, we take a lot of the manual work that's being done and bring that into a digital workflow that allows them to track and automate all these various activities that they were previously doing manually.
David, again, this is kudos to you and your team, who are the boots on the ground doing a lot of this work behind the scenes. So I'd like to spend a little bit of time just helping our audience visualize what the core team looks like, what makes you guys so successful. I know in our previous conversations you were emphasizing the importance of having the tech foundation and then building on that. So can you help us understand the current makeup of the AdvizeX ServiceNow team that you work in tandem with, from the day-to-day, the environment, and then also the importance of that tech foundation?
So underneath Andrew, I'm one of 3 engagement managers. Like I said before, I'm the engagement manager for the Northeast region, but we have 2 others for other regions. We also have a handful of developers, and the engagement managers do a little development here and there as necessary as well. We all have that experience. We're all certified, et cetera. One of the things Andrew did when he built this team out, right, is rather than just going after people with a PMP certification, just project managers off the street, right? He went after people that all had lengthy experience in the IT field, and then also had experience with ServiceNow, right? So we bring all that context to every workshop that we do, every conversation with the customer, every point of guidance and decision, that we're trying to make or the customer's trying to make. We're bringing all of that contextual awareness to that scenario. We're not guessing is the point, right? Also, in situations like that bank that Andrew mentioned, that's a long-term customer now, we have direct access to the ServiceNow FSO product team. We've been working with them on an integration there that's unique, and that's pretty cool to have that level of access and trust from ServiceNow.
Andrew, I want to come back to you now as we start to look ahead. Near-term roadmap, what are you excited about? What are you hoping to accomplish in the year ahead for AdvizeX? And how is that going to then translate to growth of the practice?
So one of the things that we're really focused on this year is expanding our service offering and technical capabilities within the practice. We're looking to expand into other facets of the ServiceNow platform and obtain several certifications, specifically working with working in the government space, as well as some of the security operations applications and suites there. We're also very focused on AI and how AI is going to impact the ServiceNow platform, but more broadly, how's it going to affect our customers? So AdvizeX has established several strategic relationships with Dell and NVIDIA. We are going to be recognized as one of NVIDIA's key partners around their AI platform. ServiceNow is a part of that, right? They were also recognized as one of NVIDIA's key partners as AI continues to move forward. So something that's really unique, again, about AdvizeX is that we have the infrastructure expertise. We have a team of AI data architects and subject matter experts who can help our customers really evaluate their particular AI needs. And again, this ties into what we're doing with ServiceNow, because the reality is ServiceNow has a breadth of data about customers' environments, about their configuration items, about their assets, about all of the different incidents, problems, outages, you name it, right? All of these different record types. And so customers inevitably want to use AI, leverage AI to provide more insight into that data, find correlations between that data, summarize that data, and really provide some strategic initiatives or outcomes that they could use that data for. So we really do see AI as being a way for customers to do that. So we're investing heavily internally through various trainings. And again, as I mentioned, these partnerships, so that we've got the right team here that we can bring in when a customer is engaging us in those conversations. So it's a really key part of where we're going in 2025 and beyond. And I continue to be excited about where that goes. One other thing I'll add there is AdvizeX. We're part of a larger organization called Fulcrum IT Partners. We have one of our sister companies is called Fulcrum Labs, and they have a product called Data QI. And that is also another area that we're starting to look into to see how do we integrate with Data QI to really provide some of these other data insights that we know ServiceNow could be a great repository for when customers are looking for some of this, again, these summarized metrics, strategic initiatives, whatever that might be.
Uh-huh. David, coming back to you then on the people impact of the roadmap ahead. When you look at the strategic objectives for AdvizeX, as somebody who's working with the customers, where do you see the need to strengthen the team, bring in more talent to help you and your team deliver to the customers as you have been?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great question. I mean, obviously, we're always looking to expand into other modules. I know Andrew mentioned governance, et cetera. But right now, everybody's talking about AI. Well, all the customers are asking. That's what all of the ServiceNow events are focused on, et cetera. And that really touches every area of the platform. I mean, that's really ServiceNow's goal. They've literally said that. So in addition to, getting trained up on some less common areas of the platform in general, focusing in on all of these adaptations that ServiceNow is implementing to best utilize AI in all areas of the platform. That's a major focal point that everyone's trying to get up to speed on. ServiceNow doesn't have all the answers themselves yet. I've witnessed that at conferences. All the customers know that they need to at least be thinking about it, right, and aware of it, and so they're all curious what they can do, and we're constantly in the process of trying to figure out how to best help them.
Yeah, indeed. Final question, Andrew, coming back to you, leading the ServiceNow practice at AdvizeX, you're involved in a lot of the key decisions, but a big part of your job is making sure that you have the right team to execute on the vision and its mission. When you're speaking to people about AdvizeX, people within the ServiceNow community who you feel would be a good addition to AdvizeX, What is it that you tell them about the team, the culture, the mission that gets them excited enough to join you guys over some of the other great partners also trying to attract the same talent?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go back to what I started with at the beginning when I talk about AdvizeX. And it's really is about our hyper focus on customer relationships. To me, that is one of the most important things when I'm interviewing a candidate, or even bringing in somebody to assist with projects, not necessarily as a full-time employee, but as a subcontractor. Really am focused on understanding their commitment to driving successful outcomes and meeting customer expectations. To me, it's all about customer service. It's all about communicating and setting expectations appropriately. So I'm looking for candidates who tend to over communicate, not necessarily work hands on keyboard. I hate to say it this way, but like kind of working in the shadows. We're always looking for candidates who are really interested in engaging with customers face to face and having conversations and willing to ask questions and make recommendations about about deficiencies that they might see. One of the things that our developers that we have, I always say, don't be afraid to raise your hand. If you receive a requirement from an engagement manager and you see a better way to do something, raise your hand and just let the team know there's a better way to do this than what's been documented here in this particular solution. And let's keep that feedback loop consistent throughout the project. Don't necessarily sit there and build something that is going to be a potential technical debt down the future, or that's going to cause potential downstream impacts. So again, I really, when I'm looking for candidates, really focused on their ability to communicate effectively and really think through some of these complex solutions and ensure that we're delivering the right thing.
Yeah, so important. Guys, thank you both so much for coming on and finally getting on the show. I know we've been planning this for quite a while now, and I'm delighted we finally got it done. I appreciate you both sharing your own individual journeys, but most importantly, the work that you're doing at AdvizeX, building an incredible practice, and the success in the customer examples and the growth ahead is a testament to the hard work and the unique nature of what you do. So we wish you all the very best luck in the year ahead. We look forward to having you back on the show again in the near future. So thank you both so much.
Yeah,
thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.